have been in hiding kind of. I feel like it's time for me to talk. It got so bad and this led to like 3 more ER visits. I was rolling on my bed in tears. At this point, I'm crying in the ER. I was also having a lot of blurry vision. I was having a lot of brain fog, more than usual. Everyone kind of agrees there's something systemic going on. I feel like I am back at the start where I initially did not have my Ehlers-Danlos diagnosis, and I was searching and going to a million doctors and having a million tests, and I still have more tests coming up. All my doctors are like, no, this is something else.
A lot of it's been really painful.
Yeah.
You've cried a lot.
Yes.
Probably more in the last 3 months than in the many years prior.
You know, everybody always says, oh, you're so strong. I don't feel that strong right now, honestly.
Let's do it.
Let's
Ready.
do it, baby.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to the Chronically Courageous.
Hi, David.
Hi, Bonnie.
Welcome to my lovely studio.
Awesome.
Um, so I just pulled you in here. I just pulled me in here
Yes.
completely off the cuff,
Mm-hmm.
like no plan, just kind of wanted to fly by the seat of my pants
Mm-hmm.
because, and I do that much better with you in here, which is why I asked you to come in because I hate just talking to a camera. It's weird and awkward and it's unnatural. But if I'm talking to you,
Right.
it's much more conversational.
And I don't look like a guy with a plan.
All right, Joker. All right. So, David and I just got back from a doctor's appointment, one of many
Mhm.
that I've had in the past couple months. And I have been in hiding kind of. And it's been bothering me. I feel like it's time for me to talk. I pride myself in being an advocate for the chronic illness community, and I've not been doing a good job of that. And one of the things that many of us tend to do, and I definitely tend to do a lot of, is isolate when I feel like poop, which I've been feeling like. So, now that I've said that so profoundly and so well, and used my strongest vocabulary words,
Yes.
let's go back in time a little bit. So, June 19th, 2025, which is about 2.5 months ago, something like that. Anyway, I wake up and I am in a much more unusual amount of pain than normal. I go to brunch with my family, and I was a little distracted because we had a whole bunch of other things going on at the time. I had some close family members that were going through some major health ordeals, and it was just a very stressful time. So I didn't really think much of it. Later that night, I came home, attempted to go to bed, but had the most excruciating shoulder pain. I don't recall if I called you in
I
the
think you called me the
morning.
next morning.
The next morning,
Yeah.
yeah. So I
You
basically
put on a
not
happy
ba
face that night.
yeah, I tossed no, I didn't put on a happy face. I was in bed all night.
No, but you didn't let me know
Oh,
that
yeah,
you
I didn't
were
wanna bother you.
suffering.
Right, I didn't wanna bother you. So, I tossed and turned all night. I did not sleep 1 minute, not 1 second. I literally looked at my watch, and it came up with, like, dashes for, like, 0 sleep. That's how much pain I was in. So, and all my normal tools that I use, my marijuana gummies, my Benadryl, nothing was helping me sleep. So, the next morning, I believe we went to the ER. Yes, that was trip number 1.
Yes.
I think
I think
actually
you texted me that
Sean,
you were en route to the ER because you were in
yeah,
such misery and agony, and you said you hadn't slept the night before. And I
correct.
think, yeah, Sean took you that morning.
Yeah, I think my son took me that morning, and they basically, like did a couple of tests. Not really even. I'm trying to think. I think they did an X-ray, and I don't even remember if this time that they possibly did it. No, I don't think they did an MRI. I think they just did an X-ray, sent me home with a really horrible sling that didn't work, and
Well,
some
talk
pain
about that
meds.
you had a sling because you had hand pain,
No, the
right?
shoulder pain
Oh,
came
this was shoulder pain.
first. The
Okay.
hand pain was this is
The
conf-
next
this
the
is
next ER visit.
yeah.
Okay.
He has a reason to be confused. It's confusing even to me, and I lived like firsthand through it. He lived secondhand through it.
And we had 3 ER visits in
Four total.
four
Four
in like a
total ER
week.
visits.
Yeah. Okay.
within like a month
Yeah.
or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was visit number 1. So I'm like, icing it. I went to the shoulder doctor. They gave me a cortisone shot. It kind of like got a little better over time. Still bothering me a little bit, and I feel some weakness in it. But then, about a week after that, oh, and they gave me a steroid dose pack. A week after that, went back. I woke up. My hands were absolutely killing me. I was having profound numbness in several of my fingers, um, and just excruciating like nerve pain that was going from my hand into my arm that was so painful that it brought me to tears. And I'm literally on the floor of my bedroom crying. And my David had to come over and help me get dressed.
Hmm.
I couldn't even get between the shoulder and the hand and everything. I couldn't even function at all. As a matter of fact, after the shoulder thing, I remember David had to do my hair. David learned how to do a blowout. I'm going to insert that video here.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I
David
remember that now.
David had to learn how to do a
Oh, that's funny.
blowout because I literally could not raise my hands up to wash my hair
Yeah.
or blow it. David's learning how to do a blowout.
Is this what it is? I had no idea.
Sort of. I
Okay.
mean, it's a modified version. So that was fun. But then the hand thing came and that was even worse. And it started in one hand and then it moved to both hands and I was having profound numbness, tingling, nerve pain, and it got so bad, and this led to like 3 more ER visits, and each time it was a little bit worse, and then I started to get numbness in my feet, and it felt like a bandage was around my toe like all day, and it felt like one was around my thumb, and it was just not fun at all. So anyway,
Well, that was kind of the dismissive ER visit where they brought the X-ray machine to you, right, like in bed
yeah.
in the ER, and they were just trying to get us out of there as fast as possible. It
Mhm.
was really a disappointing. And
Very.
by the way, I don't know if it's on the video, but Milo the dog has been here for a while, so
Yes.
that's if we're like reaching down to pet
The
him or
dogs
something.
will be in and
Yes, or you're
out.
here like
Yeah.
chomp chomp chomp, it's bones, not real bones, just like rubber ones. Anyway, yeah, so that I thought that was the second visit, right? Where you were like
Yeah.
in the first ER bay as soon as you like go through the side door. I don't know. I could get into the details there, but anyway,
Yeah.
that was a dismissive visit. And then wasn't the third at the other hospital or was it the fourth at the other
The
hospital?
4th was at the other
All right,
hospital.
so I'm blanking on the third
Yeah.
visit.
I know, me too.
Okay.
it's all very confusing, honestly. All I know is I hate going to the ER. I don't like being around sick people because I get sick easily, and when I get sick, it's really bad because like I already have all these issues and then it just makes things worse. So that's one reason I hate going to the ER. I am not I don't like seeing sick people because honestly, when I see other people that are sick, it makes me feel worse because I'm so empathetic and I start to feel their pain. And I have a very big problem with the sound and the appearance of people vomiting, and that was a big thing at several of my ER
I
visits.
remember that. I
Now
remember
you're
that.
remembering. So
Yes,
so
you
fast forward. So we did, let's see, we did MRIs. First we thought maybe it was something with my spine because my spine is fused from C3 to
well, that was at
C7.
the third visit. We didn't get an MRI on the first two visits because they
No.
just don't do them at that hospital. Actually, did we get the third one at Thompson Peak? Was the third visit where you got an MRI or no, you had to go
Yeah,
to
I
okay,
think
so the
so.
third visit,
I think
you
so.
did get an MRI. Okay,
Right.
so that was the final time, but it
Yeah.
wasn't a complete body MRI, right? It was just
No, they just
something,
did
your
my
neck.
cervical spine because they
Right,
thought
right,
maybe my hands were feeling numb because of my spinal issues, which had happened in the past, and that would be a logical conclusion. But they looked at my MRI. My neurosurgeon that did my neck surgery looked at my MRI, and nobody thought it was a spinal issue,
right,
or
right.
at least not a cervical spine issue. So, so then a few days passes. We go back to then I said, let's go to a different ER. Maybe we'll get a different result because we're not getting anywhere with this ER.
Right, and each time we only got some temporary pain relief, right? They just gave
Yeah.
you a little dose of something in the hospital that lasted 24 to 48 hours, and then we were back in pain.
Well, and it wasn't even it was enough to like keep me from screaming, but like
Right, right,
it
right.
was not
It
it
was not
was
relief. You couldn't
no.
function.
No, I was not functioning
Right,
at
and then
all.
fourth visit
I could barely
was the
use my
charm.
hands.
Right.
So it got to the point, and I'm gonna insert a video. so you can see what I'm talking about. It got to the point where I would wake up in the morning and my hands were like this, and I literally could not open my hands for hours. Like I had to work on it and slowly like massage them and open them, and it was just excruciatingly painful, and it was just horrible. I was rolling on my bed in tears. So we went back to this other ER. I get there, and at this point, I'm just so exasperated with the whole process of trying to figure out what the heck's going on, getting no answers, and just being in increasingly horrible pain and getting this progressive numbness that is terrifying because I've told this story many times on the podcast, but back in 2004, my right arm became entirely paralyzed, and that was because of my cervical spine. So I'm thinking, oh shoot, this is happening again. So I go in there. At this point, I'm crying in the ER. I am
Yep.
like losing my mind, crying. They put me in a room, like a triage room, but it was like I got a bed and everything, and I'm literally laying there curled up in a ball, crying. And it takes a lot for me to get to that stage. Like I mean, just one example, I had a 9 pound 4 ounce baby, epidural wore off, did not cry one tear. But I was nerve pain. If you've ever had nerve pain, it is some of the worst, most evil, cruel pain you can ever have in your life. And it
Hmm.
took me down.
Yep.
So I was like, listen, I'm not leaving here till I get answers. And we were pretty demanding about like you better figure something out and you better give us some answers. So we got a doctor. She was really great. She
Much
said
more compassionate.
much more compassionate, much more thorough. She actually wanted to do once she heard I had Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, she wanted to do a CT scan to make sure that I wasn't having an aortic dissection, which is something that can happen um, in EDS people. So she wanted to do a CT scan because I was also having some chest pain. So anyway, so they needed to do contrast for the CT scan, and I've also had an allergic reaction to contrast before, so they needed to pre-medicate me with a ton of Benadryl. They also gave me morphine for the pain
And
and
a
a
big dose of steroids.
big dose of steroids,
The best part was the steroids.
150 milligrams of steroid IV. When they gave all this to me, I was sitting in a chair and I literally could not hold my head up. I was talking garbled. I mean, they were like watching me because they were administering all this medicine. And as they were doing it, I was like, I was like falling backwards in my chair. So this is a funny part of the story too. One of the nurses was watching me and then he had to leave and he gave me to someone else. And she was just kind of like babysitting me. I don't even think she was medical. I think she was more administrative, but she was just watching me to make sure I didn't fall over. And we were talking and I mentioned that I have Ehlers-Danlos and she she's like, I think I might have that. I have all these symptoms. And I'm like, oh, you should listen to my podcast. And I mentioned, the Chronically Courageous with Bonnie Howard. And she's like, "Oh, I subscribed to that one." I
That
was
was
like,
cool.
"Oh my gosh,
Yeah, that was
that
cool.
that made my day. That really like made a really crappy day a little happier to know that okay, people that need this information, it's actually getting to them." And it was the best part of the day.
Do you remember her
So
name? So we could give her like a shout out right
I
now.
don't remember her
It's too bad.
name. I
Okay.
don't.
But shout out anyway.
Shout out.
That
Yeah, that was really cool.
was
And
also the waiting room where there was somebody sick in the waiting room and you refused to be in
oh
the waiting room.
yeah.
Yeah, that was another
Yeah, someone was
unhappy moment.
vomiting and I was like,
Yeah.
"Please
Couldn't
keep
even be in the
me
same room.
far away from that person. I want nothing, no part of that." So, yeah, that's just my weird phobias. But anyway, so we
Then
got
we
the
were
CT
taken
scan.
back to another back corner of a different waiting room
Yeah.
where you were in a reclining chair for a while because you couldn't really do much. Right?
Yes, I remember
Remember
that
that back
now.
corner?
It's
Yeah,
all
yeah. You
very
were,
fuzzy
yeah,
because
yeah. So
yeah.
they took us to a different area. You just relaxed for a long time, and then they might have even wheeled you in that chair or something. It was really,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I
you were out of
couldn't
it.
walk.
Yeah.
I no, they put me in a wheelchair. They took
Okay.
me to this room where they had a bunch of recliners and like people were like in a waiting, like a holding area until they got you a room. And they were waiting for all my meds to kick in so then they could do the CT scan. So I had them wheel me as far as they could up to the chair, and then I walked like 2 steps, and I had to make sure I was holding something because I was so close to
Yeah.
falling over. So we got the CT scan, that was all fine, but they they wound up telling me I need to see neurology, I need to see rheumatology, and I was like, "Great, let's do it." So I got referrals, I scheduled the appointments. They also wanted me to get so I went to
And she got us in with good doctors too. Like she was able to
got
give
in
us a
some.
special referral or something to get you in with the right doctor, right? What was it?
Actually,
How did that
no,
work?
that
Okay.
was something else. I got a referral. I think my primary care physician, I wound up seeing her also in the midst of all this.
Okay.
She referred me to, I think, a rheumatologist. I went to the rheumatologist. We got some preliminary testing. So I did get a positive ANA test, which is a test, as many of you probably know, that they run to see if you have an autoimmune thing going on. Which I've had ANA tests before, never had a positive test. This time it came back positive, but not just borderline positive, like substantial positive. It was like 1 to 320, which it means that it's one part for they dilute it a little bit each time. And they could still find the ANA in my blood after diluting it 320 times. So I think borderline is like 140 and 1 to 80, but mine was 1 to 320. So it was substantial. Ran a bunch of other tests. Everything mostly came back negative. There was one other thing. I had like a C3 complement level that was a little low, and then like a thyroid thing that was borderline, but like nothing crazy. I've since had some more tests. I've had a CBC where some of my blood work came back a little bit abnormal, but again, kind of uh, still nothing that's telling us what this is all meaning or happening from. So,
And we had another MRI since,
yeah,
right?
we've had it.
We've had what else? Today
Wait,
was
did
the
we have
nerve
another?
test. God, I think we did because we were waiting for it and waiting
Yeah.
for the results and we
Oh, the
chat GPT the
brain.
results. Yeah.
Right. Right. I had a brain MRI because one of the theories was possibly multiple sclerosis. We've since decided it's probably not that, but we still don't know. We're still running more tests. Um, so I had a brain MRI because for a couple of reasons. One, to follow up, I have a small brain tumor called a meningioma. We follow up on it every couple of years. It's stable. Long story short, it's only 1 centimeter, not causing any problems. It's not cancerous. It's benign. It's fine. But we wanted to see if there was anything else going on with my brain because I was also having a lot of blurry vision. I was having a lot of brain fog more than usual, some memory issues. Like I was talking to medical people on the phone and I didn't remember my own address a couple of times. I think part of that might be due to exhaustion,
Hmm.
possibly. Don't know for sure. I don't want to minimize, but because it's been a lot. It's been, and I feel like, yeah. Anyway, so after I got that mega dose of steroids in the hospital to prepare me for the CT scan, they I woke up the next morning and I was like, "Oh, I can open my hands." It was like a small
Yeah.
miracle. So ever since then, it's been better. Like I haven't run back to the ER for the fifth time, but it's still been pretty painful. And it's not just my hands; it's everything. Like I wake up in the morning and my everything hurts, and then throughout the day, my hands still hurt a lot, the joints, and my feet. Like, it feels like when I'm walking, it feels like I'm stepping on sharp rocks or something. It's hard to explain. It's just very, very painful, and it's worse in the morning, and my hands also and my wrists really hurt. When I sit down to breakfast in the morning and then I stand up, I audibly like make noise and I can't hide it from my son, even though I'm trying to protect him a little
Like
bit.
you crack or like you
No,
say, like you moan because you're
no,
in
I
pain.
say, oh,
Okay.
oh, like
Okay.
I'm in so much
Yeah.
pain. Like
Yeah.
it just everything just hurts so bad. Like my
Hmm.
knees, my hips, just everything is just so stiff
And
and
how are the feet
hurts.
today? We had
They
an
hurt.
electrical test today,
They hurt.
but was it the same like stepping on rock pain?
Always. Uh,
Okay. Okay.
every moment. I actually it feels better if I wear like cushy shoes. Like I wear Hoka sneakers, which are very padded, which is the reason I started buying them because they're not cheap, but a podiatrist recommended them. Because at one point I thought I had stress fractures in my feet,
Mhm.
but it turns out that I have something else going on. So I've had so many tests. I've had a couple of different nerve conduction studies. One of them just today, I had like full body um, EMG where they stick you with a bunch of little needles and then they measure your muscle response to them. And then they also did like little shock tests where they're also testing your nerves. I've The first time I had that done, they said, "Oh, you have carpal tunnel syndrome." I'm like, "Okay, great, but there's something more going on because there's something
First time
systemic."
recently. You had it done years ago,
Right.
but then we had one done a month ago,
Yes.
right? Just the top half.
Right.
And they said you had carpal tunnel in your left wrist?
Yeah.
Yeah, just one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're like, "It's really bad, you need surgery." So I go to a hand surgeon, he's like, "Yep, you need surgery." I'm like, "Well, listen, I've got all this other stuff going on. It's not just my hand, and it's not just that hand, it's both." And so he said, "Oh, okay. Well, I think you need to see neurology and rheumatology and explore all that before we move forward because
Right.
everyone kind of agrees there's something systemic going on. It's not an isolated thing and it's not my typical EDS pain. It's very different. It's very different. So there's just been a lot going on. I'm exhausted, I'm in pain, I'm cranky, I'm frustrated, and I feel like I'm back at the start where I initially did not have my Ehlers-Danlos diagnosis, and I was searching and going to a million doctors and having a million tests, and I still have more tests coming up. Next week, I see a neuro-ophthalmologist to look at the vision issues I've been having where, like, it goes on and off, but it's always blurry, but sometimes it's a lot more blurry, and I see double sometimes, and, yeah, so we're gonna see a neuro-ophthalmologist next week. I'm also having a hand MRI next week to check for synovitis in my joints, which would be an indicator of rheumatoid arthritis. But if I do have rheumatoid arthritis, it would be something called seronegative rheumatoid arthritis because my blood tests came back negative, but that can happen and you could still have it. And
That was a first early diagnosis with this
that
this
was the
round of
first,
tests.
that was
That
the
was one of the
first
first
early
things, right,
thought,
that we thought, right, was a
right?
serious new thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was like, because as many of us who have EDS know, we're big researchers. We
It's
need
comfortable.
to be because we need to advocate for ourselves and because we went through so many years not knowing what was wrong with us. I think our propensity
Yep.
is we want to figure it out. Like we have to dig deep and we have to figure it out. I'm a big researcher. I've become a huge researcher. And that is still one of the things that I think is a strong possibility, because I've seen a million and one videos about people that also have it and they have very similar symptoms. It all sounds very familiar.
But it's not a known comorbidity with EDS, or is it?
No, 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 no,
Okay,
no,
so it's
no.
a
This
separate, could be a separate thing entirely.
totally, I believe I have one or more things going on that are completely separate from EDS.
Okay.
Yeah. So next steps, we're gonna meet with neurology again. We're meeting with neuro-ophthalmology. I have a hand MRI. I have a lumbar spine MRI. I have a thoracic spine MRI, and a lot of this is to, see if there's any like there could be spinal issues. The neurologist said maybe she thinks I could have like a neuromuscular issue, although I'm less inclined to think that's the case now based on the test I had today because the doctor said my muscles are working fine from the EMG.
He
So,
thought a little carpal tunnel in both hands,
right,
right, or both forearms,
both forearms, yeah,
but
and some
nothing,
neuropathy.
yes, but nothing at the threshold of surgery yet for carpal
Right.
tunnel.
Right. And also I've known that I've had small fiber peripheral neuropathy for many years. I got tested for that 10 years ago. I've had that. Occasionally I'll get like a little lightning zap or something, but nothing even
Oops.
remotely close to this. And even, all my doctors are like, no, this is something else. This is what you have going on and your response to it is much more extreme than just a little from not that that can't be awful, but they think it's more, and I think it's more because I've never had this kind of issue from that. So the search continues, and I just wanted to touch base with everybody because I feel terrible that I've been so quiet on social media. I've been quiet with sharing what's going on with me um,
But
because
in your
it's,
defense, it's confusing. A lot of it's been really painful.
yeah,
You've cried a lot,
yes,
probably more in the last 3 months than in the many years prior.
yeah,
And yeah, when you can't like open your hand, you can't type or communicate either. So
yeah.
yeah, I remember for a while you wouldn't even type back to me. You would only record messages. And even sometimes you do now because it's still painful to type.
Mhm.
So we just have to figure out what this next round is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been very debilitating. I started to say before the sneakers, when I wear padded shoes, and I actually bought myself a padded pair of slippers too that I can wear around the house because if I walk without shoes on, it is like I wince and I sometimes scream and it is just extraordinarily painful. So I'm in a lot of pain. I'm physically and emotionally exhausted and I have been isolating myself, which is
Not good.
not healthy.
Mm-mm.
No, it's not healthy. I know that. And I feel like a horrible friend. I feel like a horrible chronic illness advocate. And
Well,
I,
you're neither of those.
mm,
Just by virtue of the fact you're sharing now, you're helping people who I'm
thanks.
sure have been in a similar situation with another diagnosis. That's what chronic illness unfortunately is, right? Like you
Yeah.
go from thing to thing. You don't know what it is until you maybe do,
Right.
right? And so we're just in that, that lull right now.
Yeah.
We'll get through it.
We're in the diagnostic odyssey phase. And I really hate this phase. The dogs are, I don't know if you can hear the dogs. I really hope that this isn't going to mess
Milo,
up our recording.
Nala, stop. Okay.
Ugh. Anyway, here comes one of the troublemakers. You can't see
No,
him
no,
because
the
he's too low down.
troublemaker.
This
He's
is the
he's the
major. This is
troublemaker. Yes.
Milo. Milo the
Yes.
monster. He's a really cute monster, but he can be a little brat sometimes, right, Milo?
I
You
knew you
crazy
were trouble
doggy.
when you walked in.
He's cute.
Okay.
I love you, Milo. I love you, baby.
All right.
Anyway, so this is my way of just kind of giving you a very high level view. Oh, another thing, I just went like this to my leg and it jumped up and I remembered one of the things the neurologist said too is I have hyperreflexia, which means I have like an extra like my reflexes are like extra. Let's just say extra kind of like me. So yeah, and she said a couple other things too, a little bit of balance issues, but I went uh,
That's true. She had you
yeah,
walk and you were off balance. And you've
yeah,
told me recently you've been off balance
yeah.
and you almost fell a few times,
Yeah.
which is scary.
Yeah.
And
Well,
you
and
did fall.
I've fallen many times in the past year, which
Yeah.
is not typical. I've actually had some injuries from these falls also. So something's going on. I don't know exactly what's going on, but there is something and it's been brewing for a while and it started screaming at me in June and I am no longer ignoring it. I have many tests to come. I have many appointments to come and I will keep you posted when I know more. But this is my way of just reaching out and saying, I'm here. I apologize for disappearing for a while. It's just, everybody always says, "Oh, you're so strong. You're this, you're that." I don't feel that strong right now. Honestly, I feel exhausted and a little defeated, and I will get through this too. But it's been hard, and I appreciate any and all support I can get. So, love you guys. Thank you. And the story will continue.
Stay tuned.
And I just need to give a shout out. Speaking of shout outs to this guy, first of all, look at the cute shirt he's wearing.
This
I,
is the funniest part of the day. I had this on the whole day. She didn't notice it till halfway through the day. And we had a picture earlier in the day, and she was like doing whatever she does on Instagram and put words on top of this to not even see it, like completely oblivious. And I even said, well, can move the
yeah,
words so you can see my shirt and just
yeah.
oblivious to it. Yeah, that was hilarious.
That was funny. Yeah, so what I did, I took a selfie of us in the waiting room. I said, I'm just going to post because again, I was feeling that pull like, okay, I need to like let people know what's going on with me a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna like give a little breadcrumb. Yeah, we're at the neurology place, and um, I posted something. I said something like, "Find a guy that will go to your doctor's appointments with you," and I pasted that over the words on his shirt, not even realizing. And he's like retaking the picture a few times. He's like, "Well, let me take it." And
Right. So you
so
can
that he
see
could
it.
show it. And until we were sitting in the office where I'm about to get stuck with all these little needles, that's when I first saw the shirt. I'm like, "Oh my gosh,
No,
that's
halfway
so
through
cute."
that, like, yeah, we were in the you were already like halfway poked and prodded.
Yes. Yeah, and then I noticed it. I'm like, "Oh, no wonder why you didn't want me to cover the shirt." So anyway, that's our little so we still managed to have fun through all this crap. We
Always fun.
still
Always fun.
Hi, Milo. We still find a way to like have fun, which is really important, and just laugh. As much as we cry, we also laugh,
Mhm.
and it's important to keep doing that because if you
The
gotta, you gotta just find ways to deal with it. And humor is one way that I've found that works for me. So
the only hard part, honestly, has just been dealing with the dismissiveness of some of the doctors along the way,
yeah,
specifically in the ER. Those those were the hardest moments.
the worst.
Everything else we get through.
Yeah.
But
And
knowing like just like you're there, you know there's a problem, you know they don't want to solve it, right? They just want to like get you out of there and you're going to be back in a few more days. That's the part that's the hardest.
yeah, it's hard. And it's, the thing with the ER is like if you're not dying, then they're
Then move
like,
on,
here's your referrals, go do these things,
right?
you
But
know?
that implies you can get in to see doctors, and the waiting list for some of these doctors is months and
Outrageous.
months and months long.
Outrageous.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I have to thank my primary care doctor, and I would shout her out, but I don't know. I don't want to do it without her permission, but she's amazing. She's awesome. She somehow found a way to get me into a really, really highly recommended, highly reviewed, extremely talented neurologist very quickly. So I was very grateful for that. So there's
Cool.
that. Yeah.
All
So
right.
got to celebrate the little wins along the way. And between the tears, find some ways to laugh. So, with that, you want to give a big kiss with me, honey? Ready?
Mwah.
Mwah! Love you guys.